Good morning and welcome to Ask a Traffic Cop. I am Sean Shapiro, a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. Very specifically Toronto, Ontario, Canada. You know, that place with the CN Tower, that's where I'm hanging out. Actually, not that far away from the CN Tower. I'm in, where am I? I'm in Liberty Village. That is the area that Traffic Services, calls home on Hannah Avenue. It's this big building in the middle of other buildings, except in our building we have police cars. Makes it cool. So if you're joining us for the first time, let me break it down for you. What do we do here? Well, we talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. So if you've got questions, this is the place to get answers. We do our very best to get to all of them, and I know it's not going to happen, so I don't want to get your hopes up. We very often have thousands and thousands of people that come through our live stream, which is awesome, but it means that not everybody gets heard, and we want to hear everybody. But we can't. It just doesn't work. So if you've got questions, throw them in the chat. I hope to catch them. We used to have something, and I'll need to check again to see. No, here, we have this. We have lightning Q&A. That's useless. Q&A is broken. It's been broken for about 6 months, thereabouts. So we're trying to get it back. In the meantime, if you go to Volley, you can get that by going to trafficcop.ca. That's my link tree. It'll take you to, it'll give you a link to our Volley page, and then you can jump in and you can ask us questions. And there's 4 questions sitting there. As well as an introduction and introduce yourself post. So we'll have to check that. Oh, Danica is here. Chase has a question. Who else has a question? No, Danica's question was already answered. Okay. We'll get to those in a sec. I want to talk to you very quickly about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. Once we get that out of the way, we can jump into your questions. Also, if you're watching us on TikTok, awesome. Many people are. We also have a bunch of folks on Instagram, but we are also simultaneously broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and even Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, I'm very sorry to tell you that you can't actually ask us questions there because Twitter done not working properly with, anyway, it doesn't work properly. At least not with Restream, which is the wonderful, magical streaming app that we use to get onto all these platforms simultaneously. Big Jeff Fresh is watching on YouTube. He knows all about YouTube. If you want to be heard and you're on Twitter, jump over to YouTube. It's the easiest way to go. And if you're trying to figure out what our links are to all our various socials, jump onto trafficcop.ca because I've got all of those links right there. My Apple Watch is going bananas. Okay. Let's see here. So Vision Zero Enforcement Team, the thing that I threatened to tell you all about. So being that it's October 3rd, we have Vision Zero officers, Vision Zero Enforcement Team officers. They are out throughout the city. Well, not throughout the city. They're actually in a specific area of the city, and they're trying to make it safer. How are they doing that? By issuing tickets, not hugs. They are currently in 14 Division and 42 Division. That's the neighborhoods of Christie, Ossington, Annex, Little Italy, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, Scarborough. 2 different areas. But those are areas that our analysts have determined are in need of focus because there's something going on there. Based on stats, today's the day that they need to be focused there. And they'll be somewhere different tomorrow. If you want to check it out daily to know where our Vision Zero enforcement officers are, check out Twitter, Traffic Services at Twitter or at Traffic Services on Twitter. Yeah, that's where you're going to get that notification every morning. It's on Instagram. It's on Facebook too. But you know what? Easy peasy Twitter. Okay. Leo wife, my wife is watching. Good morning. Akela Draconis coming in with the greetings and salutations that we always look forward to. Thank you for joining us. And these are we're talking about. We got regular viewers, which is awesome. Megan Story wants to know: do cops have to show up to court for speeding tickets? Yeah, actually, we do. We're obligated when we issue tickets to show up. It's part of what we have to do. Now, if we're required for some other kind of emergency or we're sick, things happen. And very often when that happens, you get a bonus day. You get the charges withdrawn. Doesn't always happen that way, but very often it does. Or when we don't show up, that's very often how it's resolved. But we are required to go. Ryan Pinn says, good morning. Ryan Pinn is a driving instructor from Nova Scotia and a friend to the show. And we're going to look over here and see that Neon, who's one of our friends, is on Volley right now with a question of whose idea was it to start doing traffic stuff live and who brought it to your attention? Well, that's an interesting conversation. We were doing stuff on social media prior to TikTok and going live. We were doing all sorts of stuff. We were busy folks. And what we did was we started doing, or I was involved in an investigation where people were skateboarding, I think, off of the Fred Gardner Expressway onto Lakeshore. And we created an account for that very reason. At least I created the account. And then once we started putting up our videos from YouTube and they started doing very well, a button popped up and I was able to go live. So I said, what does this do? And I went live, and the rest is history. The live streaming thing was really something I just started doing. And it's really paid off because we've had a tremendous success. I don't know if you've noticed, but we're very close to reaching 600,000 followers on TikTok, which is just, it's wild. It's wild. We're very happy about it. Very, very excited. I need water, excuse me. I went from not talking all morning to now talking nonstop, so need to keep that hydration going. All right. Jacob says, good morning. Melissa McDonald says, when someone is in an accident, I got to correct you, it's a collision. Accidents suggest no one's fault. Collisions occur because someone made a boo-boo, a poor decision. So when someone is in a collision due to it's actually insecure load, what happens? Well, if something falls off a truck and lands on you, let's say, or a wheel comes off or something happens, well, that party is responsible. This is where dash cams come in really, really handy because you need to have something to associate that vehicle to what happened. You just saying that the blue truck that drove by lost its load and fell on you, not so good. If it, however, was caught on camera, you have some great evidence to supply the police officer who's going to be investigating. But you want to be able to share as much of that as possible. I've got to adjust this camera. My Instagram phone is not at a good angle. There we go. Let's fix this. Sorry. Last minute tweaks. Jacob wants me to have a fantastic day, and I shall try. Actually, you know what? It's a good day to be alive. I like it, and I think I'll stick with it. Kayla says, my local speed radar flashed at me yesterday. I was going 5 under the limit. Should I be worried? The flash went off, or the speed board said, you know what? Double check what the speed is. But you know where you were going, and you know if you were speeding. I wouldn't be too worried. At very least, you've now got a public record. You said it on the show. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if those are triggered by those Cobra chickens flying by. I couldn't tell you. I don't know the inner workings of the program because it's not run by the Toronto Police, but it's very curious. I want to know the answer. Q wants to know about VZ. Well, we already covered VZ. You missed it. But good morning to you. Ryan Pinn says, I remember when you were excited for 60,000. Yeah, the road to 600,000. Yeah. Okay, here's the deal. We started the account, and my aspiration, my goal was to hit 17,000, which is what we had on Twitter. If I hit 17,000 followers, I thought that was going to be the cat's hiney, because that's what we had on Twitter. That was the gold standard. That was where I was aspiring to be. In any case, we blew past that very, very quickly. And I think when I presented my first presentation about TikTok to our management team, I was probably around 20,000. And then the next week to our upper management, that was at 50,000. We were just light speed ahead. It was amazing. Amazing. Someone wants to know about police foundations. Is it a good start? Well, let's start off by saying we are hiring right now. Right now. Police foundations, if you haven't started, is 2 years from now or 3 years from now, depending on the program, and that's when you graduate and then apply. If you are capable of passing the test today, may I suggest you might want to apply today. www.tps.ca. All the requirements are going to be there under the career section, but check it out, because if you could start a career in policing with Toronto Police Service now, why wait? If they tell you go back and get some life experience, go back and get some education, well, obviously that's a hint. But if they'll take you today, go today. And you can continue your education. I went to and did college courses while I was already a member of the police service. You can certainly do that. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Gotcha. Impeding traffic, a charge. When is it laid? Well, impeding traffic, do we have a charge of impeding traffic, or really it's a charge of unnecessary slow driving, which is described as impeding traffic without reason. So let me pull up and see if there's another charge for impeding traffic, because maybe there is. It's possible. I like to say that I know a lot, but not everything. Impede. No, impeding doesn't come up. But unnecessary slow driving, again, is described as no motor vehicle shall be driven on a highway at such a slow rate of speed as to impede or block the normal and reasonable movement of traffic thereon, except when the slow rate of speed is necessary for safe operation, having regard to all circumstances. So, there you go. I did know that, even though I don't quote it exactly that way every day. If you are watching, please like, please share, please interact, engage, ask us questions. That's how this works. This story is better because you're part of it. Speaking of stories, I wanted to share with you something cool. I have now got tons of data at my fingertips. And where is that sheet of paper? Where is that? There we go. Let me pull it up. I want to know how many tickets, well, I know because I'm looking at it, how many tickets year to date do you think we've issued in the city of Toronto? Even better, let's just break it down because the big number is big. But let's say speeding tickets. Guess in the chat, how many speeding tickets do you think we've laid since January 1st of this year? I'll give you the number. I'll give you an opportunity to guess. We'll have some fun with this. It's a big number. I think it's a big number. Maybe you won't. Maybe you won't think it's a big number. Okay. Oh yeah, that definitely is going to be I'm seeing that thing. While you guess, I've got to look somebody up because somebody's being silly apparently. Got to find them. Well, I don't see them, so maybe they've gone too far back. But apparently somebody's being not so wonderful. In any case, I'll try and pay attention. 73,000 is the guess from Big Jeff Fresh on YouTube. And I don't see any guesses on TikTok. Are there guesses coming? Oh, 5,000. Canadian John says 5,000. Tiana says 8,000. 25,000 from one user. 107. Okay, ham is a little too high. 100, not 175,000. 11,000. 2350. 150,000. 1,000. 12,000. Okay, there's some good guesses here. A lot of guesses here. Axel says 15,000. Speeding tickets alone, dun dun dun. Oh, my wife says 200,000. Well, I can tell you that it's not 200,000. And let's see here. I'm looking for one last round. 17,000 from Rick. 375,000 from one. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So we have 61,053. 61,053 tickets issued year to date. That's pretty intense, I think. That's a lot of people who are choosing to break the law. Now, I don't know how many of those were over 10 kilometers or over 20 kilometers an hour, but that's still significant. If we look at, let's see, can I do this one? We have okay, we'll dig down here. For speeding, okay, if I look at, so we have 61,053, that's speeding. But of those, stunt driving, just stunt driving, smaller number. Any guesses? Stunt driving. Now, this is what I find interesting. Stunt driving, it could be a number of things. It doesn't have to be just speed. It could be, and Native Mandan, you want to talk about electric scooter laws. We're going to jump onto that in just a second, but we're going to finish off with how many stunt driving charges we've laid year to date. So 61,053 is all speeding, but that there's a subcategory of stunt, and Clayton says 750. Not far off, actually, man. That's pretty close. That is really close, actually. Actually, I think you're just so close that we're going to tell you the actual number is 823. 823 people that chose to go either, it's a list of things, they either chose to do donuts, burnouts, drifting, speeds 40 over in an 80 or in a speed zone under 80, or 50 over in a speed zone over 80. Ryan's guess came in late, 7:49. I think it's actually after I said the number. Either way, that's awesome. I like this. This is good. We'll be able to. I'll have to wait a while until the numbers are bigger. Mind you, we can do some historical stuff. Michael says not enough. You should issue many more on the Don Valley Parkway. Last night, after the Who was the Who playing? Yes, I didn't see. I'm not even up on this. I did not know that the Who played. But yeah, we do have a problem. We have a lot of people who choose to drive in a way that is unsafe. They don't care. They think that they are more important than everybody else. Because that's the only thing I can think of as to why they choose to do things that are dangerous. And it's not just about taking their own risk about themselves. They're putting others at risk. We had a case a while back where 3 people were engaged in some level of street racing on not on the highway, just on surface streets, and one lost control and hit a bus shelter and hit someone who was in that bus shelter. That was not a good day at the office. And these are the kind of risks we see when people engage in stupidity. Okay. I see in chat that everyone wants to say hello to my wife, so I will say hello to my wife on behalf of the chat. Apparently, they want you to know that they're waving. There's thousands, no, it's hundreds of people. I was going to say thousands. We don't have thousands right now. We could have thousands. If you share the live, we're likely to have more people. If you tap that screen till your finger goes numb on Twitter or LinkedIn, not LinkedIn, but Instagram, that will show the algorithm that you like us. If you share it with your friends and family, well, that too is a direct referral, and we really appreciate those. We don't get paid by TikTok to do this. We are here for you. This is a show that's entirely for you. We want to answer your traffic and police questions because we want to be able to, reduce the chance of you getting a ticket by making a mistake you didn't know was illegal. And if you have questions about modifications and things you want to do, we can talk about that too. But we do appreciate it. My wife says, hello, everyone. She's on YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube, you'd see those chats. What is this? That's an average of 90 per month so far. Yes. Big Jeff Fresh talking about the percentage of stunt drivers per month. It's wild, isn't it? So many people making bad decisions. Okay. While we talk about some other things, because we're going to get into some questions and answers, because that's really what this is all about, but I'll let you stew on this. We'll take a break in a little while, and you can guess the aggressive driving tickets. How many tickets were aggressive driving? We'll talk about it. Okay. Canadian John says, I wish we had this years ago. I wish we had this too, but the technology wasn't there. And certainly the adoption of technology wasn't there. This is a big step. Now, the question from Native Man Dan, who says, still wondering about electric scooter laws. Thanks for the acknowledgement. Okay, let's talk about it. So electric scooter is different than electric bicycle. E-bikes have a legislation that's been around for quite some time, and the legislation for e-bikes essentially takes a motor vehicle, because e-bikes are motor vehicles, and allows them to operate as bicycles, and that's awesome, as long as they conform to certain rules. So what are those rules? The rules say that you can't have more than a maximum speed on a flat surface of 32 kilometers an hour. That doesn't matter if you're pedaling in combination with a motor or just the motor. 32K maximum. You go 33, you're a motor vehicle. You don't get the benefits of the legislation. So that's one. Two, you can't have a motor more powerful than a 500-watt motor. That's the maximum. You cannot have a vehicle, a e-bike that weighs more than 120 kilos in order to qualify. And there's a number of rules about keeping it in good condition, in good repair. We won't worry about that right now, because it talks about battery leads and brakes that are capable of a certain stopping distance. You have to be 16 years old to operate it or to be a passenger on it, and you must wear a helmet, bicycle or motorcycle helmet, up to you, but it must be a helmet. Okay, let me type this in, because I want to pull up the e-kick scooter legislation. E-kick scooter, because it's different. Boom, boom, boom. No, e-kick scooter, Ontario. That's what I want to find. Because it's a pilot program. Here we go. So that the deal with e-bikes, that's actually baked in. It was a pilot that is now baked into the law. It's there. It's not going anywhere. If you modify your e-bike, it is going to be reverting to the definition of motor vehicle. You need license, ownership, and insurance. If you get caught without that, obviously you're going to get charged. Someone's making toast, or I have something going on with my brain. One of the two things, if anyone remembers the commercials. Anyway, the deal is that if you get stopped for driving a motor vehicle without insurance, under Ontario law, you must have, or you'd be eligible for a ticket of $5,000 to $25,000 on your first conviction, as well as up to 6 months in jail. So not something that's appealing, I imagine. But no one seems to think about this when they decide to go a little bit faster on their e-bike. Major issues. So the pilot program for e-kick scooters, because that's what Native Man Dan was asking about. And the deal is, what is it? What is an e-kick scooter? So we're talking about the sort of like a skateboard deck that has two wheels on it, like tiny bicycle wheels. I don't know how to describe it any other way. And then it's got a stem and a handlebar. On that, very often, regular kick scooters are things you saw 100 years. People used to make them out of boxes and skateboard tracks. This is different, obviously. These are electric, and they describe them as is a vehicle that has two wheels, one on the front, one on the back, important, a platform to stand on, a handlebar for steering. It must not exceed 500-watt motor, an electric motor that does not exceed 500 watts, and has a maximum speed of 24 kilometers an hour on a level surface. Now, there's a pilot program, and it says that you have to have a minimum age for riders, which is 14. There's a bunch of other things here. And what's different about this law is it's an Ontario pilot, but they left it open for municipalities to actually set the law. or at least to accept the pilot or not. Toronto is one that says nay, they do not want them. So there are no e-kick scooters permitted in Toronto. You can't operate them on the road, on the sidewalk, or in any park. So if you see them, know that those people are all breaking the law. Great, right? Most people don't realize they're breaking the law. This is one of the things that we talk about. We got a comment from YouTube, wants to know about e-skateboards. Those are also not legal. They are motor vehicles. They're not covered by any pilot, so that would be absolutely illegal. They can be used in private property only, and we see them everywhere. We talk to people as we run into them. A lot of injuries. Some of those skateboards can do 40 miles an hour, from what I understand, and that's just wild. Those one wheels or mono wheels, or what are they? I don't even know what they're called, but they're people basically stand on these unicycles that are self-balancing, and we've seen them do 40K. So first of all, just even if you were to pretend that they were e-kick scooters, which they're not, they're dangerous, and they wouldn't be allowed in Toronto. But those are motor vehicles. They are extremely dangerous, and what we've been seeing is riders or drivers or operators of those things being charged with unsafe motor vehicle when they're involved in collisions. And I've seen some gnarly videos with people's legs being broken, I won't say off, completely snapped off, wiggly, just nasty. I mean, I can't imagine what the rest of their life looks like after that collision, but they're getting charged because they're using unsafe motor vehicles on our roads. So bad day at the office for them in so many ways when they get involved in collisions, but even if they just get stopped and charged. So what do they say? They say, so municipalities that choose to allow e-scooters are responsible for where scooters may be operated, where scooters may park, whether a business permit or license is required for companies operating those, because they have those rental companies in the States and in some provinces, or not, or some cities. I think Ottawa has rental ones. Whether insurance is required. So what's interesting, there might be insurance. That might be from a corporate perspective. I'm not sure. So then there's a list of guidelines that you can Google this yourself. But essentially, Toronto, not allowed. I believe it's a $60 ticket for simply using a prohibited vehicle. But there's so many other things if you've modified them, because we've seen dual motors. I was actually looking at these for a long time, and they've got some heavy-duty ones that can do 80 kilometers an hour. I've seen these on highways on video. Don't know if it was where the video was taken, but 80K on a stand-up e-kick scooter, that's a motor vehicle license, ownership, and insurance. Okay, we're going to change subjects because this is a lot of talking about e-kick scooters. But Native Man Dan, hope that answers your questions. If you've got more, please let me know, because we want to make sure you get the answers you're looking for. Okay. Trish, what are we talking about? No, don't know what we're talking about. I'm jumping into conversations or seeing messages of HT enforcement is boring and traumatic for a lot. What is it? HT enforcement, the whole idea is to change driver behavior. See, people are choosing to do stupid things, which is leading to collisions, which is causing trauma. We've got, last year we had 40 deaths on our roads. And what is our current? We're like really high. Let's see here. Analytics. Can I find it? No, I don't see it. I think we're in the 50s for deaths this year on our roads. I got to find the right information. Tow truck, no, I don't see it. I will find it. I want to know. We have a lot. In fact, our stats for violent crime and like murder, murder and vehicular involved death, they're neck and neck. They're always very, very similar. 50, 60, 55, 62. Like sometimes we were actually higher with motor vehicle collision resulting in death than violent crime. So people who say that Highway Traffic Act stuff it's not important, they don't know what they're talking about, clearly. Okay. Boo, boo, boo. Let's see what we got here, because Dr. Penfield, I smell burnt toast. Yes. Okay. How loud can my stereo be? We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm in school. How can I share? Okay. How loud can my stereo be? Okay. So your stereo can be as loud as reasonable. So unnecessary noise could be your stereo, could be your horn, could be your tires, could be your exhaust system. It just means that you're creating noise unnecessary for the safe operation of your vehicle. So how loud? Well, if everybody on the street's listening to it, they can feel your bass and it's rattling every screw that's already loose in your car. That's a problem. Your windows shouldn't be vibrating. I don't want to hear your stereo when I'm outside, and nobody else really wants to either. So it shouldn't be that loud. I listen to the news. I'm listening to News Talk 1010 9 times out of 10 on my stereo. So mine should be loud enough to be able to still read street signs. And I say that because as an older guy, I turn the stereo down when I'm looking for stuff. I don't like noise. But it's not a very specific, it's not a decibel rating. So you should be careful with how loud you go, because obviously if everyone's turning to look at you, it's probably too loud. I like to say that if you ask your mom or dad, and it's a bad example, but it's the example I have. If you ask your mom or dad, as long as they are not stereo or car enthusiasts, what is too loud, chances are that is the right one. Now, if your mom and dad are enthusiasts, maybe grandma, maybe a parent or the the angry neighbor. Ask them, because they're going to give you a more realistic answer, and because you're going to be biased. It's like, it's not that loud. Also, I have a notice on my watch. My watch actually monitors. Oh, I'm at 72 decibels right now. I get a decibel. Can you see? You can't see that. Decibel rating. Okay, no, it's turning off. Anyway, it tells me when it's too loud. And prolonged exposure to loud noise will cause permanent hearing damage. We wear earplugs in the motor squad because we want to actually prevent the hearing loss or reduce it. We're going to get hearing loss, but we want to reduce it. All right. Are there street racing fines for snowmobiles? It's a motor vehicle. They can't be on the road. So if you were doing stunt, I wonder, would you charge you a stunt for I imagine we would charge you for stunt. But I don't know. I'm not an off-road snowmobile person. That's a Sergeant Campbell kind of discussion. What do we got here? Hey, let's take a snapshot for a second while I'm looking for questions to answer. Any guesses as to the number of aggressive driving charges laid in Toronto this year so far? Yeah, that's the question. Scrolling through to see if any numbers when I play the stereo. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't need anybody else to hear my stereo. Barry Manilow. 5,000. Tom thinks it's 5,000. We got 857. Johnny says 100. I don't know. 1,800. We got 150. 67,000 from Brad. Is it Brad Allen? Not 67. That's too high. 40,000 from Axel. That's actually not that far off. Closer to 40, but not over. So it's under 40. But we're definitely not we're in the tens of thousands. Let's see here. How do you find out if you have a warrant? Have your lawyer. If you think you've got a warrant, maybe contact a lawyer. Okay. Need water. $13,450. Do I tell you the answer? Is that the deal? Should we go there? Let's see. Let me see if I have any guests here first. Oh, how about e-skateboard? We talked about that. Here's the guess. 8703. Okay, 37,000. Ooh, that's still too close to 40. So the answer is actually 29,720. So amazing. So what is aggressive? That's careless driving, disobeying a stop sign, disobeying traffic lights, turning out in front of people and to aggressively to go when you're not supposed to go. Essentially, those are all aggressive behaviors that lead to serious injury and death. And so does speeding. They're all in the same category. So 61,000 tickets for speeding, 29,000 tickets, or actually almost 30 for aggressive driving. We're over 90,000 tickets, and we haven't even talked about distracted driving. We'll come back to that in a little bit. If you don't know who I am, if you are new to the channel, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I go live Monday to Friday, unless I'm not here, on all the platforms. I think we're on all the platforms. We are on TikTok. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. We're on Twitch. We're on, did I say Twitter? We're on Instagram Live. We're everywhere. If there's somewhere else we should be, let me know what you think. Someone wants to know, is it McDuckins? Wants to know, how do you find out if you got a red light camera ticket? You get it in the mail. They notify you by mail. And then they expect you to either pay or to challenge it in court. Yes, Apple Watch Ultra, good eye. Yes, I'm enjoying the new the new bling. This is one thing that bothers me though is I'm on the last eyelet, the last hole on the band. I went into the Apple store and spoke to Mike. By the way, shout out to Mike. He was very helpful. I tried on that extension they sell that gives you a 50 mil. It was ridiculous. It's like the tail of the wristband just hung out over the watch. It looked ridiculous. Big Jeff Fresh, did you see $27.85? You were the closest. If you didn't like put that after I actually said the answer, I think our timing's off. You might be on a loop getting the answers a little bit after I'm saying them. Hi, Aaron. Good morning. Aaron Urquhart just walked into the office. She's wearing headphones. She may not hear me. She hears me. Okay. What do we got here? Yes, there must be a delay on YouTube because I'm saying stuff and then I'm getting answers, and they're really good answers, and I just assume that they've heard the answer and they're just putting it. No, they're just awesome people who are jumping into the conversation, and we'd love you to be part of the conversation. Does TPS support protected bicycle lanes? What do you mean protected? Like cycle tracks? The city determines what goes where, and cycle tracks and cycle lanes and sharrows. Those are all part of current situations. We're all good with those. We want vulnerable road users to have a safe place to cycle. We do. We want vulnerable road users that are pedestrians to be safe on the sidewalks. We want cyclists off of the sidewalk. Also, it's illegal to be on the sidewalk if you're 14 or over in Toronto. Let's see here. Oh, Big Jeff Fresh was in 30 seconds before he said it. Good man. Okay. Let's see here. So there is some timing issues, but we're figuring out that Big Jeff Fresh is just on the money. That's what it is. Okay. What is the law on non-flashing blue fog lights? Bylaw only says no flashing from what I saw. So the Highway Traffic Act says headlights, which fog lights are included in headlights, can only be white or yellow. Only two colors you can project forward on a motor vehicle in Ontario. So that would say no to blue fog lights, regardless flashing or otherwise. Yeah, that's the deal. Can't have them. Yellow or white light only. But that's a good question from Ryan. What is this? How does ramp speed measured? Some of them makes no sense. 401 at Kennedy, eastbound 80K. So basically, the yellow signs on the ramps are suggested so that you don't leave the ramp sideways. Engineers determine what the ramp speed should be to be safe. Is the ramp speed actually that? No, it's not an enforceable speed because the white sign is the highway speed and the street road sign is the street road, surface roads speed. And in that middle, I believe, is highway speed. So if you were to do 100 kilometers an hour getting on, you wouldn't be breaking the law, but you might find yourself in the ditch. Okay. Rob Baker came in now with a guess. Maybe you might be following. So when you get onto YouTube, you can actually play back and watch, and that may be why we're getting some late guesses. Or on Internet Explorer. Does anybody use Explorer? Is that even the thing? Can you download Explorer now? All right. Distracted driving. How many tickets have we laid for distracted driving since January? I've got a number here. It's not as high as the other ones. I'll give you that hint. But it's still a ridiculously high number. This is folks who are getting $615 tickets on suspension. 3-day suspension and 3 demerit points for your first conviction upon conviction. Yeah, it's pretty wild that people can't control themselves enough to put the phone down, because distraction is one of the leading causes of collisions these days. Whether you are distracted by your telephone, your daydreams, distraction, it leads to collisions. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you're driving into stuff, people and things. Okay. You know what I haven't done? I haven't looked at the chat on Instagram. A bunch of Keenan's throwing in all sorts of Q&A, what do you call it? Guesses. It was only off by 900 on with the speeding. That's pretty impressive, Keenan. Okay. What do we have here? I am in school, watching in school. What course should I take if I want to join foundations? What is this? Okay. So we're talking about education. save and except for the fact that we are currently hiring, and if you are qualified today to meet the minimum requirements, you should be applying to be a police officer if that's what you want to do. tps.ca/careers, all the information you ever wanted to know, not only about policing, but for special constable position and other positions within the service. We have lots of civilian opportunities as well, although I don't know if we're currently hiring for those. In any case, what you should know about education is everyone has an opportunity to bring different cards and put them on the table. So if you are looking for something and you want to get into policing, then maybe getting something that you love, that you're truly interested in, so you excel in it as experience and as a course, and then bringing that unique knowledge to policing. I always use the example of accounting. Not my forte. However, if you got your degree in accounting, which I guess would make you an accountant, you would be a phenomenal asset to our financial crimes unit. So things like that, making yourself a diverse and unique applicant makes you stand out from the crowd. If everybody else is going for police foundations, maybe having something other than police foundations would be a good way to go. That's not to say police foundations isn't a good idea. I'm just throwing ideas at you. Again, hiring right now. Okay. I have a mixed comments on getting an e-bike or e-scooter. Is it allowed in the streets of Toronto? So e-bike, yes. E-kick scooter, no. So that's A2 High wants to know that one. And can delete the Keenan questions because we answered them. Okay, cleared the deck there. Cool. What do we got here? Talk about your microphone. What brand and model is it? Tell them how you differentiate it between fake and real. So there's some questions. I don't know. Can't talk into it and show it off. This is an SM7B. It's made by a company called Shure. I love this microphone. I have a lot of. I might have a problem when it comes to microphones. I have a whole bunch of them. We have some MV. So this one's my personal mic that is from home. But then I have the service is actually trying to get us all the way over here. We have some Shure MV7s. These are dual USB and XLR mics, so you can use them directly with your phone or computer without any kind of mixing board. We're putting them through the XLR into a Zoom P8, which has 6 inputs from XLR, so we can do a lot of different things for podcasting. I love these mics. Now, I have mics from all sorts of different brands, all sorts of different styles, shapes. I have condenser, I have dynamic, I have all sorts of different options. And this has become my go-to microphone, not just because 90% of YouTubers seem to use it. I just like the way it sounds. But it's expensive. I think it's a $500 mic. I bought this one secondhand. And as Q mentioned, how did I know it was real? Because buying stuff secondhand is scary. I didn't even think that there was a a fake market for the SM7B. I would never have dreamed that that was possible. And I bought it and then found a string of videos talking about how there are fake SM7Bs. So don't buy them on Kijiji or Facebook Marketplace, because there are people who are seriously underselling them. And I'm guessing that when a deal is too good to be true, it is. I believe them to be fake. So this one I went through extensively and went through a guide about how to make sure it wasn't fake, and I believe this one to be real. And hopefully it is, because that would be really sad if I bought a fake one. In any case, love this microphone. If you ever want to talk about technology, if you want to talk about things other than police and traffic safety, then feel free to get me on VoiceOver Cop. That is where I have a channel that is not dedicated to any particular topic, but you can ask about stuff there. You can also join me on trafficcop.ca, which is really just a fast link to my link tree where you can contact me on any of the platforms I'm on. Like I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I don't think I have Facebook on there, but I have LinkedIn as well. Feel free to reach out to me. And I've been meaning to talk about tech in my setup, which I've photographed and pushed out on Instagram, but really never done any videos on it. So at some point, it's going to happen. Okay. And my wife just chiming in saying, yes, I do have a lot of microphones, and it's true. I have wireless mics, wired mics, USB mics. Yeah, lots of mics. But you know what? Mics are cool. Okay. We have. What's this? Oh, Philip has a question. What is this? Ryan Pin says, I'm a singer and I have one mic that I own. Which mic do you have, Ryan? I want to know. Okay. What is this? Rise, why is it? So Philip wants to know, with the use of LPR, which I'm assuming is some form of automatic license plate readers on the rise, why is there so much tolerance for damaged license plates and plate covers that obscure license plates? So I'm so glad you talked about this. The deal is that there's really not a tolerance. There's just a focus on the activities that lead to serious injury and death on our roads. So we talk about the big four. That's where we focus our efforts. The big four are speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. And if we are going to do one thing with the resources we have, it's to try and save people and reduce those deaths, because injuries and deaths ripple into the community and destroy not only the lives of the people involved, but the families and communities surrounding the people that love those people who are hurt because of the choices that some drivers make. But when it comes to license plate covers and the people who choose not to replace the peeling and completely bare metal plates that have no business being on the road, we do write those in between other things. So we're always going to be on the priority of the dangerous stuff. And then for me, I've written those consistently for the last 10 years. It's a big pet peeve. I know it's a pet peeve for the chief. It's a pet peeve for traffic people across the planet. If we can't read your plate, we expect that to get resolved, and I stop and charge people for that. Now, I am not currently on the road. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of unhappy people, because I will write tickets for anything I see. Yes. Ryan's got a Shure SM58. You know, it's a distant, it's not even a distant cousin. The SM58 is basically what's inside of this housing. But we can talk about that another time. All right, let's go into the chat and see what's going on. We have Aaron. Oh, Aaron is now enforcing laws. What is this? What's the law on we talked about that already. I guess that's why they're saying we've already answered it. Hey, just wanted to say thank you for doing these. Well, you're most welcome. We are happy to be here. This is awesome. A little backstory. We were not doing lives prior to the pandemic, and we pivoted. We took advantage of the opportunity to find different ways to engage with you, our audience, the people we are serving in our community. And it's been awesome. We're so glad to be able to engage with you on a daily basis and get questions, or your questions, answered. Something that you may not know about, if you go to trafficcop.ca, you can join our volley group. And hey, there's a bunch of questions there that I've ignored for the last 10 minutes. And those are, it's basically a community. You can chat with other people who watch the shows, about 113 people currently there. And you can pop in, ask a question, and we'll get to it. We'll get to you. And it doesn't get lost when the live goes down. That's part of something that lives for, I think we're set to 2 years. But in any case, something to think about. Trafficcop.ca and join the volley group. What is the charge, Lizette? Is it Lizette that wants to know this? Did I just lose you? Here we go. Suzette, not Lizette. We have, what's the charge for wrong license plate? What do you mean wrong? Like a plate that's not attached? I believe it's $110 for having using a plate that's not associated with the vehicle, but there's more to that, because chances are you don't have insurance on that vehicle either. Let's see, I got a permits and plates thing, used vehicle, used plate, drive motor vehicle. No, what do we got here? I've never laid that charge, oddly enough. Every time I've pulled someone over, they've had the appropriate plate for the appropriate vehicle. Is it associated? Oh, I can't think of the word. Oh, come on, where is it? I'm going to... Specified permit. No, maybe it's more than $110. But I can't find it. Not the one I'm looking for anyway. I'll come back to it. So the question is wrong plate. Let me come back to it. Wrong plate. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's used defaced. It's not it's bugging me because I know it exists. Use validation not furnished for vehicle. That's $170. And you seize it. I'm going to assume it's the same thing. Anyway, it'll come to me. Of course, you got me there, Suzette, with one that I don't have a zinger answer for. What is an insurance company's take on someone's statement in a collision when they are not? I don't know what you mean. Do you mean what is the take of an insurance company when someone provides a statement? How much weight do they put on it? I think they look at it holistically, like from all things. We look at it from the perspective of evidence. If we have independent witnesses that are truly independent, they have weight. If it's the passenger in your car, they have less weight. And physical evidence is king. Dash cams, awesome. Get a dash cam. If you don't have a dash cam, what are you waiting for? That is the best independent piece of evidence that you can provide an officer or a collision or a insurance company about what's going on and what went on, so you can protect yourself. Now, obviously, if you did something wrong, it might be the nail in your coffin, but it is a good thing to have most often. I certainly won't drive without one. Tinto Tozy from Montreal, how you doing? Going through a one-way, how much and how many demerit points? Going through a one-way? How do you go through a one-way? Do you mean run like a stop sign, a red light? Do you mean go the wrong way on a one-way? That is. I don't know how to interpret your question. Please rephrase. Ryan Pinn says, hypothetically, if a parking enforcement officer applies for a job as a PC, would they score higher on the hiring matrix since they already work for the Toronto Police Service? I would assume they would. They're part of the background process. They've already been cleared to some degree. I think they would get points. If they're a bad candidate, they don't get to become a good candidate just because they have a work history. But they do have work history, so some of the questions I think would score them some points. I've never worked in employment, so I'm making assumptions. I was a court officer before, and I applied, and I'm sure it helped me become a police officer. So getting hired where you can get hired is good. And I don't know. We should have another episode with our employment friends. And we have lots of friends in employment. tps.ca/careers if you want information on becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service. We are hiring right now. Right now. Can the Toronto Police pull over commercial vehicles? Absolutely we can. We'll pull anything over. Okay, what do we have here? Can a G2 drive on the highway? Yes, you can. You can drive on any road in Ontario, obviously ones that have public access. You can drive interprovincially and even into the United States. You have a conditional probationary license as opposed to a learner's permit at that point. So you're considered a driver that's licensed to drive. Now, there's conditions. You can't have any alcohol in your system. You can't drive with passengers under 20 between the hours of 12 and 5 in the morning unless they're members of the family. That was allowed. I hate these notifications. They bug me so much. Can you please explain roundabouts? Nancy, I don't like roundabouts because people don't know how to use them. I had someone who was basically challenging me yesterday in a roundabout. I was in the roundabout. It's my right of way, and they last minute had to hammer the brakes because they didn't realize that they had to yield to me, and I wasn't prepared to slow down for them. In any case, you enter a roundabout, assuming you have to yield to the person inside, and then once you're in it, so you don't need to signal because you're just going with the flow of the road, and then you signal to exit the roundabout. Sergeant Campbell made an interesting comment in Europe, and I think it was just recently in Scotland. And in Europe, they signal the opposite direction if they're not turning out. If they're not going to exit the roundabout, they signal left or I guess it would be right. Anyway, I don't know what side of the road they drive on in Scotland. I assume it's the wrong side of the road. But you would signal into the curve in Europe to say you're staying in and signaling out to leave, which is interesting. That's not something we do here, but it does make sense. There's a lot of confusion because it's not something that's everywhere in Toronto. And I like them, but I also don't like them, only because people don't know how to use them. So we can talk more about those. Have I left anything out? Anyone who's driven in a roundabout, let me know what you think. Let's see here. It's a street on which you can only drive in one direction. I know what a one-way is, and you drive the opposite direction to go faster. So you mean you drive wrong way on a one-way. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so I want to read to you the entire definition. Wrong way. Wrong way. Drive wrong way, one-way traffic. So it's $110, 3 demerit points, and the definition states this. The short wording definition says, where a highway has been designated for use of one-way traffic only, and the official signs have been erected accordingly, vehicles and streetcars shall be driven only in the direction so designated. It makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah, you go the wrong way, you get a ticket. And it's a bad idea, just saying. Let's see here. More of a comment. Just wanted to quickly thank you and your fellow brothers and sisters for doing all that you do every day. Fishing Rookie, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. We appreciate it. We do it because we love it. We do it. Some of us would do it for free. Maybe we'd have problems paying rent, but the sentiment's there. Ryan Pinn says roundabouts are super easy. Enter only when safe and yield to traffic in the circle. Signal only when exiting. See, that's what I talk about all the time, but Sergeant Campbell and his stuff from Scotland, he messes around, but apparently they do it differently there. In Nova Scotia, roundabouts have a prima facie speed limit of 30. Really? Yeah, I'm not aware of any speed limit that changes inside of a roundabout here, but that is interesting. Nova Scotia has different stuff. Every province has different stuff. We have different laws for every province, and every state, of course, has different laws. And they're usually the minutiae of little things like this. Okay. But I like that. I should screen cap. I like that. I like your answer, though. Signal only when exiting. Oh. Tinto Tozzi's best friend is a lawyer, and she drives the wrong way down a one-way in Montreal. I think you should schedule a sting operation. Is there a helmet law with an electric bicycle? Yes, e-bikes require a bicycle or motorcycle helmet, your choice, and it's for anyone riding it, and they have to be 16 years old at a minimum for all riders or passengers. What is this? When it reloads, it just slides all over the place. Could you make a U-turn in Ontario? Yes, we're legally permitted to. So nowhere that if there's a sign saying you can't make a U-turn, then you can't make a U-turn. And if you, there are other places that are simply prohibited, like you can't do it in front of a bridge or viaduct or a railway crossing, or where you have no visibility, like at a curve or edge of crest of roadway, things like that. But otherwise, they're legal, but they're dangerous, and you are totally responsible in the event that you cause a collision. When you're doing this, it's going to be entirely your fault. Where are these questions being asked? Sci-Fi Wolf? So we're on a number of different platforms. Right now, you're obviously on TikTok because that's what I'm reading your comment from. But we're also simulcasting. I have a second phone that's set up on Instagram Live. We've got a computer that's currently casting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So the Tinto Tozzi questions are coming in on Twitter. And actually, not Twitter. They're coming in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch even. Yeah. Going on one-ways, can you reverse out of one-way street? Why would you be going the wrong? It's still going the wrong way, just because you happen to be traveling. Yeah. Okay, quiz question. It's not even a quiz. It's just a guess. We talked about the year-to-date speeding charges. How many speeding charges have we laid between September 25th and the 1st? It's a one-week count. This was last week. How many speeding tickets did we issue across the city? Guesses? Enjoy. What do we got here? While I read questions, you can guess about how many tickets for speeding were issued last week. People want to know about treason. Yeah, that's not my department. We got a bunch. What do we got here? 81, 750. 78, more than 78, more than 81, more than 750, although not that much more. 295,000, Kevin. Is a degree recommended for becoming a police officer in Ontario? A degree makes you a better candidate, right? It makes you more competitive, but is it required? No. A grade 12 education is the requirement. Anything else is icing on the cake. It also does help you for promotion and furthering your career. So education is good. Doesn't mean you have to wait to finish it. You could apply now if you were in the midst of getting your degree and put it on hold if you were hired, because getting a job today when we're hiring now, it could be good for you, getting paid to go train, maybe even taking your education or completing it part-time after you've been hired. Just saying. Okay, so let's refresh. 385, 808. No one's been on the money, though. 1151, interesting. 1985, 1900, a lot of questions. So do I reveal? Is it time for me to stop the punishment and just tell you the answer? There's a couple of really close ones. the 808, 1151, we're right in the middle. It's at 1,044. 1,044 speeding tickets last week. So again, it's not like people are slowing down. I mean, if we look at every week and start averaging in 61,000 so far, no, it's probably a low for this week, but or for last week. But it's still, that's a lot of people violating. A lot of people. Okay. If you're being pulled over and you do not feel safe because the area is dark, can you drive into a safe area? So, no, you have to pull over right away. The law says you must pull over immediately, safely and immediately to the closest curb or edge of roadway. And if you don't feel safe in the location, know that the police officer who has pulled you over is taking that into consideration, is also blocking with their vehicle using lighting and equipment to ensure that that they are telling other drivers that you're there. So we're taking that into consideration. But if you fail to stop because you don't feel it's safe and don't communicate that first, well, that's a problem because you're failing to stop for police and you're actually technically creating a pursuit. Not good. And it may not end up going into anything because you're just pulling over somewhere else. But, yeah, just pull over right away. And if you say, officer, I really don't feel comfortable on the side of the road, could we move into a safer area? You can ask that, but it's not a requirement for the officer to relocate you. But Samantha, great question. That wasn't Samantha's question. I'm reading Samantha's question is asking about what if you find ammo in a parked car? Is that illegal? Ammunition in a parked car? Yeah, there's storage laws surrounding ammunition. So if we were, why are you looking in someone else's car? But yeah, parked ammunition needs to be stored properly. So that is something you'd be charged for if you don't have the appropriate, if you're not doing it appropriately. What is this? But it was who was it? It was the cat. No, it was the cat whisperer who was asking about the feeling safe. Okay. Scrolling, a whole bunch of stuff popped in. Okay, other car stopped and proceeded up, and while I was halfway in. Hang on, let me scroll up to here. If a tourist gets a ticket and leaves the country, will they still have to pay? Well, technically, they're still responsible, and they could have. I don't know if they send them, mail to wherever they are. I imagine they would. But here's the deal. Let's say you just ignored it. You said, "I'm never coming back here," and you ignore it. Okay. They may not have a reciprocal agreement or doing anything to actually to come after you. But if you ever return, know that you would be suspended here, and if you were stopped again, that could be a problem. So in the States, they could arrest you, depending on what jurisdiction you're in. So you have to really be careful. If you do something, take responsibility and deal with it. Don't run away. Running away bad. Okay, what's my police rank? I'm a police constable, first class. I am an officer who works as a media relations and media officer. So media relations, I deal with the actual mainstream media. I'm interviewed regularly in that capacity. I appear on the radio and television and in news interviews. But I'm also a media or social media officer in that I do this kind of stuff, which is a little bit different. So, but my rank is first class constable. Or is it constable first class? We don't usually talk about the first class. So when you graduate, you start off as a cadet. When you graduate from the police college, you're a fourth class constable, and then you're reviewed annually until you become a first class constable, assuming everything is working. Yeah. Can you speed to go with the flow of traffic? Legally, no. The speed limit is the speed limit. No one should be going over it, not at all. So flow of traffic, if everyone's breaking the law, can you break the law too? No. Why is it always a pursuit for you guys if someone drive it? So the definition of a pursuit is when you don't stop for the police. So if I activate my lights and sirens and you don't stop at the point where you're refusing to stop, that's a pursuit, even if you're doing 5 kilometers an hour. Okay, scrolling up to see some more stuff. Oh, Kayla's taken off? Well, it's time for me to go. Stay safe. Remember, don't have a good day. Have a great day. I love it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a great day just because he said so. Who is at fault? That was very loud in my ear. Who is at fault? Can I lower that? Maybe I can lower this. Maybe this will prevent it. Okay. Who is at fault if I get hit merging in stop-and-go traffic and the other person was stopped? Huh? Who's at fault if I get hit? Oh, you're merging? You're at fault. So the deal is that when someone is in the lane, they own the lane. If you're changing lanes, you're in the process of a maneuver, and you must ensure that that maneuver can be completed safely before you start it. Because if it doesn't conclude safely, you're responsible. So lane changes, it's all on you. Can you pull over a TTC driver while people are on the bus? Absolutely. I received a red light ticket, but I was turning right. Can I fight it? Well, if you failed to stop while turning right, you still failed to stop. And that means you ran the red light, so you're still guilty. You can try to fight it, but I don't know how you would. Is smoke tint on taillight reflectors and front headlights legal? No, it's not. Or you want to know if it's illegal? Yes, it is. So you cannot tint or change the color of your headlights. They can only be projected in white or yellow. Rear lights, they have to be discernible at 150 meters, and what discernible is based on what the officer's measurement. But if you are tinting or modifying your taillights to be less safe, guess what? When they do those investigations and determine that you were responsible for your own collision, I don't think your insurance company is going to like it. Just guessing. Okay. If many cars are speeding at once on the highway, how would it construct? I don't know what you mean. Construct what? Break it down for me. What kind of other interesting stats can we look at? Ooh, okay. How many distracted driving tickets last week? Bum, bum, bum. I need some, do I have some thinking about distracted driving ticket numbers? When the music stops, I'll tell you the answer. That works. I like this track. It's not that long. We have Mr. Quinn on TikTok. Good morning. Okay. Scrolling, I see some numbers coming in. Getting speeding ticket at Buffalo, will it increase my insurance? Yeah, New York State sends back. We have a reciprocal agreement, so they will send back and notify. Okay, Ethan says, if everyone's going 20 over on the highway, is it better for me to speed up? It's illegal for you to speed up. Is it safe to go the same speed? Technically, it could be safe to match speed, but that doesn't mean it's legal. And I can tell you that legally, you could be charged, and people are charged for speeding 20 kilometers over. Okay, song is over. Simple as that. We got guesses. They're all actually very high. So last week, 1,300, 1,400, 345, 250, 376, a lot of guesses that are actually really high. There were 99 distracted driving charges, which is actually less. I remember one day when we had like 75. So 99 distracted driving charges last week is pretty low. And actually, statistically, it says it's less than the week before. So interesting. Maybe people are getting the message. Maybe people are going to put the phone down and be safe, because we know that serious injury and death is the result of distracted driving. We know that because it's one of the big four, and stats don't lie. I mean, people manipulate stats. We don't, but it's like 9 out of 10 doctors. Yeah, there's 9 out of 10 dentists. Okay. Yeah, Simran. Is it Simran? I agree. I was shocked. I thought it was going to be higher. Like year to date, we've laid 6,272, but just 99 last week. Could be an off week, Can't catch everybody. Can I drive a vehicle that the insurance isn't under my name? So you borrow someone's vehicle, it's insured, and you want to borrow it legally. If you're a licensed driver and you meet the requirements of their insurance policy, then you could borrow it. I say meet the requirements because private insurance may stipulate things like, no one under the age of 25 can drive the car, or nobody who lives in the house with you can drive unless they're named on the policy, those kind of things. Now, legally, from a police perspective, yeah, you're a licensed driver and we'd let you drive, and we wouldn't charge you for anything. But if you were involved in a collision, know that you could be denied coverage because it violates the policies. You guys, someone's alleging that we manipulate stats. No, speed. We didn't say speeding is the number one killer. We said speeding kills, because it does. Speed increases the increases the impact, increases the chance of, or reduces the survivability, increases the severity of the collision. I have to think about that. But no, we don't manipulate stats. We report stats. We got numbers. That's all we got. Okay. The vehicle has the liability, not the driver. Once a vehicle is insured, you can drive. Okay, that's Suzette making a comment about insurance. I'm American. Do I need a Canadian driver's license to drive in Canada? No. If you're an American who's licensed properly in your state, when you visit here, you can rent a car, you can drive your car. You are licensed while you're here. It's accepted. If you were to move here, you could actually trade your license in for a full license from the United States. Depending on the experience you have, they would evaluate it, and then you'd be good to go. In terms of other countries, different rules for different places. Certain countries have an agreement. There'd be straight trade. Some give certain credit for things. But essentially, we accept almost all driver's licenses for visitors. Can I drive my dirt bike on those dirt trails along the side of the roads in Ontario? Dirt trails along the side of the road? Do you mean like off the road, or you mean a shoulder? In terms of dirt biking, it needs to be on trails that are approved. You'd have to be a licensed and insured vehicle, from my understanding of off-road. But I have a very limited understanding of off-road vehicles in Ontario, because that's not a thing we do in Toronto, and I'm a Toronto kid. So my understanding is if it's trails or on private property where you have permission to operate, then you can. The ones on the side of the road, that I'm going to assume is private property, you need permission of the owner to operate your vehicle there. Okay. I'm insured, but the car I borrow isn't insured. Is that okay? No, the vehicle must be insured. You cannot drive. You don't have insurance in Ontario. The car does. So if you borrow an uninsured vehicle, you're driving an uninsured vehicle, and you'd be charged, or the owner would be charged. So don't do that, because you have no coverage. What is this? Since it is now legal for police officers to give reckless drive tickets on private land. Oh. Maybe this is in relation to the dirt biking question. So it's not reckless driving, because that's an American charge. We have something called careless driving, but the charge for wheelies and taking your tires off the road or spinning around donuts, that's stunt driving, and that can be laid even for dirt bikes, even on private property. What about the Philippine license? How many months can we use? Some say 3 months, others say 6. If you're moving here, it's going to be shorter than, I think it's 3 months. And then if you are visiting here, I believe it's 6. So both numbers are correct. It just depends on what you're doing. Visiting versus moving. Not allowed distracted driving tickets. I drive for a living and see it more than speeders. Yes, you're absolutely right. Everyone seems to have their phone in their hand, especially in traffic. It's bad. Put it in the trunk. And the truth is, we would simply charge more people if we had more people to lay charges. That's why we're hiring. Want to become a member of the Toronto Police Service? Check out www.torontopolice.on.ca/careers or tps.ca/careers, which I should have said instead of the other one, but I'm used to the other one. 22 years of saying it one way. If a cop sees 4 cars speeding at 125 and are all following the first car, how would the cop react? I don't know. It depends on the cop. Some would charge the first person. Some would charge the last person. Some would charge who stops. Some would charge all of them by way of calling in a friend and stopping all the cars together. It really depends. It's hard to give an answer, because there's a lot of individuality that comes into policing. It's the one I see. But I like what Sergeant Campbell says. The first person is the winner. They get the ticket. They were first. All right, we have gone over time. It's 11:08. It has been a blast, an honor, a pleasure to speak to you today. Happy Monday. But Monday is... Oh, no. I forgot volley. Yes, Michael, I did forget volley. I kept talking about it, but I did not actually answer the questions. So let's talk to volley, and then we're going to say goodbye. Michael says, I think it should be unsecure load. Insecure load is something you do not like about yourself, but it is insecure load as according to the way the law is written. I had this argument with Q when we first met. She says, no, it's unsecure. I'm like, no, it's actually insecure. And then anyway, it's insecure. But I don't disagree with you. The English is incorrect, or at least sounds it. What's the significance of 32 kilometers an hour on electric scooters? Well, electric scooters, that would be illegal, because 24 kilometers an hour is the maximum for an e-kick scooter. 32 kilometers an hour is the maximum for an e-bike. If you exceed that, if your vehicle is capable of producing speed on a flat surface above 32, you're a motor vehicle. You're not covered under the legislation. So you would be eligible for driving with no license, no insurance, and a number of things. You're an unsafe motor vehicle at that point because you're no longer an e-bike. Brian O'Connor says, greetings again. What is it? I, the great me. Any thoughts on people who drive supercars like Bugattis, Lamborghinis, Audis, those cars? I think that they have a lot of money that they spend on things they love, and I cannot. I have no issue with people who drive supercars. I just can't afford one or fit into it. I was talking about this today. I don't think supercars were meant for people who are 6'5". Just saying. We have Michael. We already acknowledged that I forgot volley. I did. It's supposed to be the priority space, and it wasn't the priority space today. My question for Jace wants to know about who came up with 32 kilometers an hour and why that number. I have no idea. I do not know why 32 kilometers an hour, or on the flip side, why 24 kilometers an hour is the e-kick scooter number. I don't know. It could be arbitrary. There could be some science, but I know it is the law, so that's how I go. I just don't know why they are. Cool. So we are 10 minutes after 11. We went a little long today, and it was fun. Sorry for volley, folks. I appreciate you being here, and the fact that you made your wait. Not cool. We'll do better next time. And yes. What are we doing? All the questions? If you've got questions that were unanswered, and I know so many of you do, join us on Volley, where I'll actually check in throughout the day. You can go to www.trafficcop.ca. That's my link tree. You can go to all of our social media platforms. You can also join our Volley space, and it's free. You can send me video, voice, or text, and it's kind of like magic. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. to do it all again. Have a great day. Stay safe. If you're going to drive sober. If you're going to park legally, and all that jazz. Have a great one.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
I'm just reading chat here. I'm trying to catch up. So many things. Have a good one.